Morning, class.
Nope, start over.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, Miss Tara.
Good morning, teacher.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about how to grow a plant. Now, first thing that we need is a plant. Second thing we need is a pot. Now, with the pot, we need to be really careful. See the little hole in the bottom? This is to make sure that the pot can drain the water.
Wow.
Whereas this pot doesn't have it, so I have to be really careful when I water it because it could get all the water at the bottom and create root rot, which will kill your plant.
Oh.
Now, second, we need to talk about how to water them. So we could water it at the top, or when they have the little holes at the bottom, we can do bottom up watering, and we just stick the pot in there for a minute, and it'll suck up all the water that it needs without getting overwatered. Now, let's talk about how much sunlight each plant needs. This one, if you can look at the edges, they're starting to brown and wither in. That means that it's getting too much sunlight. Whereas this plant is not getting enough sunlight because some of the leaves are starting to turn yellow. So when you're picking the spot, make sure that the plants that need more light are facing towards the afternoon sun, and the plants that need less light are getting morning sun. Or you can bring the plant inside so it doesn't get too much sun. Are there any questions?
I have a question. So I have a lot of plants at home. My mom has a lot of plants, and she keeps a lot of them inside, and she also keeps a lot of them outside. How do you know which plant should be inside and which plant should be outside?
So that does a lot with playing around with the plant. So if it's getting too much sun, bring it inside. If it's not getting enough sun, bring it outside. And just wait a couple weeks and see if it gets better.
So I also have a question. Me being someone that kind of wants to get into growing plants, how do I know how much water is enough and how much isn't?
So when you do bottom up watering, it'll take all the water that it needs. And I do this typically every day to every other day. With this plant, since it's more of a succulent and it has thicker leaves, it doesn't need to be watered as much. Whereas this plant with the thinner leaves needs to be watered every day, every other day.
Okay.
So for the, I'm sorry, you can keep going. Okay.
Yeah.
So for the, for the plants that have the holes in the bottom, for like the pots, can you do like that type of watering for all of them, or is it based on the plant? Like, could you do bottom up watering for that plant as well, or just the succulent?
You can do bottom up watering for any plant that you pot with a hole at the bottom.
So it all depends on how you pot them?
Yes. So you want to make sure that your pots have holes at the bottom.
Now, is that like, would that be like a smarter way to water your plant so you're not overwatering it?
Yes, and overwatering a plant can kill it. Underwatering it can also kill it. And so if you overwater a plant, what's going to happen is all the leaves are going to get like really jumbled up and just very like loose. They'll fall off. It'll lose a lot of its like leaves. If you underwater it, they're all going to shrivel up. So you
like
can see
that
over
one?
here, this one's getting too much sunlight and not enough water.
And this one looks good. Is that one?
Yes, this one's getting enough water and enough sunlight.
Okay. And I also have a question. I noticed around my house, my mom has a spray bottle. What's the significance of doing that versus just like watering them?
So spraying it kind of brings it more like it's outside in its environment, it's getting rained on. What it really does is clean off the leaves and all the dust on the leaves so that it can get more sunlight. Because if there's a ton of things on the leaf, then it's not going to be able to capture all the sunlight.
So would you say the misting is more for inside plants that don't get that outside
I would say
rain?
Inside and outside need it just as much.
Okay. I don't have any more questions.
I'm good too.
All right. Goodbye, class.